Hey guys, it's Hannah and welcome to the Dyslexic Reader. Today we are going to be doing a start of the summer book haul. I have bought these books over the last 2 weeks. I haven't bought books in ages, but the weather's been a bit better here and I have been going out, going into the town a lot more, visiting my favourite bookstores and charity shops, and I have picked up some books. I'm travelling for most of June, so I wanted some fresh books I was really excited about to take with me. And without further ado, I am going to start telling you about the books. 3 of them are new and the other 4 are second hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes, 3 and 4. So I'll tell you about them. Just in turn, obviously I don't know a lot about these books because I haven't read them yet. The first book I got was Murder Games by James Patterson. I have never read a James Patterson book. I know this is And Hard Ruffin? Ruhan? No idea how you pronounce this man's last name, but I've never read them. I know he probably didn't write this, but just in general, James Patterson, never read them. And for this one, I thought would be a good plane ride. It's good and small, it's quite floppy, the text is tiny but the chapters are short, and I feel like it'll just be like a quick escapist read. It says, a serial killer is loose on the streets of Manhattan. His victims appear to be total strangers. The only clue that links the crimes is a playing card left behind at each scene that hints at the next target. I love those things, like trying to predict it out. The killer, known in the tabloids as the Dealer, is baiting cops into a deadly guessing game that has the city on edge. Elizabeth Needham, the tedious... That can't be tedious. This is dyslexia kicking in. That word's gonna... The detective, we'll leave that word out. I'm sure it doesn't change the meaning of the sentence that much more. In charge of the case, turns to an unlikely ally, Dylan Reinhardt, a brilliant professor whose book was found along with the first playing card. And that really intrigued me, and I really love it in crime shows or books when they bring in I don't want to say an intellectual, but a specialist on an outside field. So whether it be a I don't know, scientists, professors, maths geniuses, all those kind of things, and bring them in to work with the detectives. I love all that kind of stuff. As the public frenzy over the Dealer reaches a fever pitch, Dylan and Elizabeth must connect the clues to discover what the victims have in common before the Dealer runs through his entire deck. And I know it probably won't be brilliant, but I'm hoping that it'll be a bit of fun, and I thought I'd try James Patterson, so why not? This was one of the new books, and the books that I got were £3-4, so I'm going to show you the other 2 that I got for £5. This one is called Places in the Darkness by Chris Brookmyre, and look at that space station on this. I thought it was so cool. I'm not big into sci-fi, but I have read a couple in the last year and I've really enjoyed them, and this is kind of like a mystery sci-fi, so I definitely thought I would try it out because that seemed quite unusual to me. This is as close to a city without crimes as mankind has ever seen. That's the quote to start it off. This city in the sky, a space station where hundreds of scientists and engineers work in Earth's orbit, building a colony ship that will one day take humanity to the stars. When a mutilated body is found on the CDC, that's the name of the ship, the eyes of the world are watching. Top of the class investigator Alice Blake is sent from Earth to team up with CDC's Freeman, a jaded cop with more reason than most to distrust such planet-side interference. All these words always get me so tongue-tied in these science fiction books. As the death toll climbs and fractions aboard the station become more and more fractious, Freeman and Blake will discover clues to a conspiracy that threatens not only their own lives but the future of humanity itself. And I thought that kind of a space mystery sounded so intriguing. I picked it up because of the cover and I was like, I wonder what that's about, and it just kind of hooked me in, so I'm looking forward to this one. And then I saw this one, which obviously The House of Silk looks like a mystery. I love the cover as well. The colours are really cool, and this moon is not foiled, but the little pits in it are foiled, which is quite cool. And this is another author, well, I think I have maybe read years and years ago one of Anthony Horowitz. Look at me picking at the stickers. I hate stickers, the way they leave residue behind. I think I maybe read one of Anthony Horowitz children's books like 20 years ago, but I've never read any of his adult fiction, and then I picked this up to look at the back, and it is a Sherlock Holmes story that he has wrote. And if anyone knows me, they'll know that I love Sherlock Holmes, and Hound of the Baskervilles is my favourite book of all time. And like sometimes I don't like people like messing with it, but I know that Anthony Horowitz is very well known and very well appreciated and and respected, so I thought I would give it a go. Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson are enjoying tea by the fire when an agitated gentleman arrives unannounced at 221B Baker Street. He begs Holmes for help, telling him the unnerving story of a scar-faced man with piercing eyes who has stalked him in recent weeks. Intrigued, Holmes and Watson find themselves swiftly drawn into a series of puzzling and sinister events, stretching from gaslit streets of London to the teeming criminal underworld of Boston and the mysterious House of Silk. And I just hope that they keep it like Sherlock Holmesy and don't go like too gory or anything with it, and kind of keep it more still spooky and fun, but more like suspenseful and PG and less like gory, like modern adult crime. That would be my only real worry about it. But the text is really large in this one, for like I think that's quite like large text. So I think this will be a quick one, and I think it'll be good fun. And this is assuming that I have time to read when I'm traveling. Who knows? Then I have one that I bought at my local charity shop for 50p. And this one is called The Star of the Sea. And I'm not really sure what drew me to it, because I'm not really a fan of boats, I'm not really a fan of water, I'm not really a fan of the ocean, I'm not really a fan of historical fiction. But it caught my eye. In the bitter winter of 1874, from Ireland torn by injustice and natural disaster, the Star of the Sea set sail for New York. So like a Titanic type thing. Obviously, much earlier though. On board are hundreds of fleeing refugees. Among them are maidservants with a devastating secret, bankrupt Lord Meredith and his family, an aspiring novelist, a maker of revolutionary ballads, all braving the Atlantic Sea in search of a new home. All are connected more deeply than they can possibly know, but camouflaged killer is stalking the decks, hungry for vengeance that will bring absolution. So that to me sounds like Murder on the Orient Express. They were all connected, but they didn't know they were connected, apart from the killer who knew they were all connected. In the 26-day journey, they will see many lives end, others begin afresh in a spellbinding story of tragedy and healing. The further the ship sails towards the promised land, the more her passengers seem moored to the past that will never let them go. So it sounds like Murder in the Orient Express, but on a boat. But what really got me was it's filled with, well, that's like more of a drawing, but it did have like, not photographs because there wasn't photographs, but like pictures throughout the book that kind of like almost make it look as if it's non-fiction, and like some of it's told in almost like a verse, and they're all like, all the chapters seem to be done in days, and then also have on them like longitudes and latitudes of where they are, and some of the pictures are real creepy. So I'm certainly not in the mood to read this anytime soon, I don't think, but it is one that I would like to have on my shelf, and I think for when I'm ready for it, it definitely will be good. And it has a lot of praise, and it was an Irish bestseller, and it's by an Irish author, so I just thought it would be intriguing. For 50p, it really grabbed my attention for some reason. And the next three I all got at the town that we holiday in has a community centre, and then there they do a bring one, take one free book swappy thing, so I took a lot of books down to that, and this is what I came home with. Terry Goodkind, Wizard's First Rule, and this is a big fantasy book. Normally when you find these big well-read, I like a well-read book in these things because it means someone has read it and loved it and gave it to someone else, or maybe read it twice and they've read it right through. I think this came out in the 70s, but normally when you find a fantasy book really cheap in a charity shop or at one of these swap things. It's not the first in the series. But when we were in the place, I thought this looks good. By reading the back, it sounds like either the first or a standalone in the series, and I got my boyfriend to Google it, and he said, yeah, it's the first. There's like 29 books in the series or something. I said, well, really, I wouldn't continue, but I just love to always have like a chunky fantasy for when I finish, when I'm ready for it. One man, Richard Cypher, holds the keys to the fate of 3 nations and humanity, but until he learns the wizard's first rule, his chances of succeeding in his task are slim, and his biggest problem is admitting that magic exists at all. In a world where heart hounds stalk the boundaries from wary human prey, blood-sucking flies hunt on behalf of their underworld masters, and where artists can draw more than your likeness, Richard finds there is no place to hide and nowhere safe. Here magic makes love twice as sweet, betrayal and loss twice as bitter. And it has like really good like reviews and recommendations as well. But it's a big chunker and it's got little tiny words, so I'm going to save it for when I'm really in the mood for a nice big long fantasy. Then I got Death and the Lichuk by C.M. Mallet? You can see for yourself. This just looked like something that one day you would be so in the mood for and you would just like devour it in one sitting, and it would just be a lot of fun. Wildly successful chitlit mystery writer Kimberly Calder is the guest of honour at an exclusive writers' conference at Dalmorton Castle in Scotland, but the fun ends when Kimberly is found dead at the bottom of the castle's dungeons. After all, who wouldn't want to see the prima donna Kimberly brutally extinguished like one of her ill-fated characters? It's up to Chief Inspector St. Just to track down the true killer in the castle full of cagey mystery connoisseurs who live and breathe malice, murder and artful alibis. And it sounds kind of like a Murder, She Wrote to me. It's obviously part of a series, but it doesn't sound like you have to read them in order, just that the detective is the same all the time. And I just thought some like rainy day, you're just going to be in the mood for that and devour it, so I picked it up. And then the last one, so we're near the end, The Historian by Elizabeth Kossov. I'm definitely not saying this right. And this again is not the kind of thing that I would normally pick up. It is massive, 700 page long and such dense text. But it sounds really intriguing to me, and I'll read it to you and you can see what you think. Late one night, exploring her father's library, a young woman finds an ancient book in a cache of yellowing letters addressed anonymously to my dear and unfortunate successor. Her discovery plunges her into a world she never dreamed of, a labyrinth where secrets of her father's past and mother's mysterious fate connect to an evil hidden in the depths of history. In those few quiet moments, she unwittingly assumes a quest she will discover is her birthright, a hunt for the truth about Vlad the Impaler, the medieval ruler whose barbaric reign formed the basis of the Dracula myth. What does the legend of Dracula have to do with the modern world? The answer to this question crosses time and borders, from the archive libraries of Oxford to Istanbul and Budapest into the depths of Eastern Europe, deciphering obscure signs and hidden texts, reading codes worked into the fabric of medieval monastic tradition, and evading terrifying adversaries. One woman comes ever closer to the secret of her own past and a confrontation with very definition of evil itself. So, a girl looking through her father's stuff finds mysterious letters, so she looks into the past and is somehow connected to Dracula. I don't know, it just sounds really intriguing to me. And even just, I know the author doesn't write the blurb, but even the way that was like written, like, pulls you in. So, that's it. Here they all are, out of size and order, but there we go. That's it. So I'm looking forward to these. I'm like, there's books on my shelf I haven't read, so I shouldn't really be buying more, but they were just like new and I'm excited about them, and I thought that that would maybe be good to kind of pull me out of my slump a wee bit. I'm sorry for the state of my hair, but I'm just in and I got caught out in the rain outside, so my hair got a little wet. But That's it. I'm going to end this because this is long enough. I hope you're all happy. I hope you're all healthy. And hopefully I'll see you in my next video. Goodbye.